Well, hello everyone, Bart Vacławick here with Volair Sim. Today, racing. As I mentioned, we're going to go through the racing setup with the Volair Sim. In the past two videos, we showed you the flight simulation capabilities, and today it's time to show you how this Volair Sim flight racing simulation chassis can be used for racing. So what we've done today is mounted a Logitech G27 steering wheel, pedals, and a shifter. The reason we did Logitech G27 for this product demonstration is because Volair Sim is the only racing simulator out there that's factory pre-drilled, pre-configured to mount the Logitech steering wheel, pedal, and a shifter. The reason we did that is because Logitech is frankly one of the most popular brands out there, and the reason for that, I think personally, is because offers a very good features, quality, real force feedback for a reasonable price point. So no wonder that amongst the serious, moderate to serious racing enthusiasts, it is a pretty popular choice. Obviously, if you have another brand of a steering wheel and pedals and a shifter, you can of course use our chassis with it. You will just not be able to mount it via the pre-drill holes, or you'll just have to drill the holes yourself. Again, no big deal. Just keep that in mind. So let's get into it. First, let's talk about the seat. The seat is a real race car seat. Allows you to adjust the position forward and aft. Allows you to adjust the angle, just like a real car seat would. The actual frame of this chassis allows you to stretch it to the minimum position that accommodates people from about 48 inches in height. So it's great for your brothers or sisters or your kids. To people that are over 6 feet, 5, 6 is what the maximum height for this chassis is, and even more than that. You just have to move the seat a little further aft. This work table, again, you've seen from the previous video, allows you to mount the avionics, the flying accessories, obviously the wheel. It's larger than some of the other products out there. The reason we did that is so you can put your speakers, so you can put everything else that you want. Maybe you want to put your joystick here if you're playing some other games here, and it just allows you to have a nice work surface. You can also take this wheel off if you're not using the permanent installation and just use it as a computer desk. So keep that in mind as well. This work table allows you to move it towards you or closer to the monitor, so you get this real good seating position when you're racing. And please watch some other videos that really describe how you should be seated when you are racing. It's much different position than what you would think, and much different than what we typically do when we sit in our cars, where the arms are relatively stretched out. It doesn't really work like that when you are racing. I'm not going to get into that. But I'm sure you already know that. If not, then just to see some other videos for the ergonomics on that. The pedal tray allows you to mount the Logitech pedals or any other pedals, and you have two options. Again, use the Velcros that we provide, and it'll actually get you a pretty good setup here. It's really a pretty rigid. But if you really want the ultimate, then there are some screws, again pre-drilled. You can take this and attach it with the screws. Pre-drilled for Logitech G27, and that is going to be rock solid. And this tray you can tilt up and down. There's 4 detents, so you can have it flat on the floor or kind of vertical, 45-degree angle. So depending how you like this, you'll be able to have your pedal tray mounted. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about cable management and positioning of this cockpit in your room or basement, wherever you're going to have it. We spent a lot of time at Volair Sim to make sure that you can route all of these cables and everything kind of looks streamlined. I suggest that you put it in a corner of the room so that you can have everything kind of out of the way and out of sight. And also we have some things in the back there that allows you to use some zip ties and things to route your cables out of the way. And do that, and your mom or your girlfriend or your wife will really appreciate it. So it will look presentable, and I think it's rather important. With that, let's talk about the keyboard tray. keyboard tray is pretty important, whether you are racing, flying, or even playing just regular computer games. And the reason for that is you always need to set it up. And you know, if you look at some of the other products out there, they really don't address it. You know, you have to have the keyboard, I don't know, sitting on the floor because the steering wheel mount doesn't have it. And then you know, it's just not very convenient. So here we've got this fully articulated keyboard tray, which means it swivels in 360 degrees. It moves up and down with this adjustment knob. You can move it up and down, and then you know, you can set up your race simulator, move it out of the way, and you're good to go. So that I think it's a pretty important feature to keep in mind. Also, we've built it rather generous and put this lid here so the keyboard doesn't slide off the tray here. And here you can have a place for your mouse. If you're using a mouse here, I've got a little tiny keyboard with a trackpad. It's already padded here, so you don't need to even use a mouse pad. So that's the keyboard tray. Let's talk about the monitors next. This setup obviously has 3 monitors. For serious racing, I would suggest that you think about a 3-monitor configuration just so you can use your peripheral vision and you can see off the side windows. It really builds that immersion in racing. However, if you don't plan on doing that, you have really 2 other options. Option number 1 is don't use the monitors and just take that support off completely, and then you can use your big screen TV, you can use your projector, overhead projector if you have that kind of a setup. So that's an option number 1. Option number 2, you can use just the center monitor. And in which case, the 2 arms that we have, that you just basically store them for later. And then option number 3 is what we've got here, where we've got the 3 monitors for the wrap around effect. This setup accepts monitors from 19 inches to about 30 inches. If you are thinking about purchasing the monitors or you have a monitor wondering whether it's going to fit, the only thing you need to keep in mind is it has to have the Visa bolt pattern. Not like the credit card, it's a VESA. And that bolt pattern is standard among all the monitor manufacturers. And if you look in the back and you see 4, like a square pattern with 4 holes, that means that monitor has that pattern and you're good to go. We provide you the screws with this kit, so all you got to do is take your monitor, just mount it, and you're good to go. So that's the only thing to keep in mind. Alright, well now we'll talk about this left and right hand shifter mount. Here I've got this mount here that I'm just basically using right now for an iPad holder. You can put your favorite beverage here, or if you happen to live in the countries, you know, that drive on the wrong side of the road, then you're going to put your shifter mount on the left hand side. I'm just joking, by the way. But for the rest of us, you know, we will use the right hand shifter mount. They're dual images, and the reason we did that is so that if you're into flying, you can have your joystick or your mounted here. But if you are into other gaming, you can actually use that for joystick too, so that it's nice and convenient here, or you can mount it here. On the right hand side, I'm going to get out of the seat and show you the right hand shifter mount. And you have 2 options. You can either mount it here next to the steering wheel. If you're playing, you know, like a rallying type of simulators, you know, you might want to have it, you know, kind of like where they have it set up in a rally car. But if you are doing any kind of other racing, maybe you just want to use more of a conventional setup. So let me just get out of the chair and show you what we've got in here. And essentially, again, we pre-drilled this for Logitech. And this is the one, I think, if any of them needs to be mounted permanently, it's got to be this guy. And the reason for that, even with these 2 clamps and the 3rd clamp underneath it, I don't think it's still all that secure, especially if you, like me, gets a little bit too intense into the action. So if you use the 2 bolts that are underneath it, or the 2 holes and the 2 bolts that they put into this, it'll make it real and nice and secure. And obviously you can loosen these adjustment knobs. We have all these adjustment knobs built into this setup, so you can move it, you know, forward and aft. You can move it up and down, like so, to really get it to suit your you know, your comfort. And then you just tighten all this stuff, and then it's pretty nice and rock solid. Okay, so I think this is about it as far as this this racing setup. I am not going to show you this in action because, frankly, I'm not that great of a driver, despite me trying for a number of years. So I'll just leave that up to your imagination. But please visit us on our website, www.volairsim.com. Visit our YouTube channel, and please like us on Facebook. And lastly, have a great time racing, and please send us your videos, your pictures, or any of the ideas that you have about your racing configuration, because we'd really like to see them, and we'd like to share it with others so that people can see what other things you can do with this chassis. Thank you again. We'll see you.